Have you ever heard ideas so bizarre, so crazy? Hold on, I gotta fix my hat a little bit, you know what I'm saying? So outlandish that it made you make one of these faces. Well, this past Wednesday, I heard an idea that was so crazy that I made that face, and so did many others when it was announced that as a part of an expansion for the amusement park in Georgia called Margaritaville at Lanier Islands, there will be a new water coaster slide or a water slide coaster, whatever you want to call it, constructed as part of the Fins Up water park opening at none other than Lake Lanier. Now, it apparently is supposed to have 4 new slides, and also the ride will have the largest blast-orango drop in the United States, which will send you up and downhill at a speed of 30 miles per hour. Now, I already see many of you looking at me crazy right now behind the screen asking, DeAndre, what's wrong with a water slide being built near a lake? I mean, that sounds like fun, right? And apparently is supposed to be finished by this summer, right? So, that how could that possibly be an issue, right? Like what's wrong with that? Well, my naive friend, I will tell you. It's not the slide that's an issue. It's not the ride itself that's a problem. It's not that. No. It's not that. It's the location. Now, in order for me to really get into the nitty-gritty here, right, for why building a water slide at Lake Lanier is a terrible, terrible idea, I need to get racial here for a second, right? If you don't mind. It's actually pretty necessary for this part. Now, there are a few rules that we as black people tend to live by for our survival, okay? And for our peace of mind. The first one is don't bring any Ouija boards in the house, okay? That's an absolute no-no. Don't do that. Don't say Candyman 5 times in the mirror. That's a pretty big one. Don't use the good Pyrex when you give food to somebody else, right? And the most important rule, especially if you live in Georgia, is do not, under any circumstances whatsoever, go anywhere in or near or around Lake Lanier. Now, I have to pause again because I see the thoughts running around in your head right now asking, why are you talking about this lake like it's something out of a horror movie or something? Because it is something out of a horror movie. To give a quick history lesson here, for those that don't know, Lake Lanier was constructed over 38,000 acres of what used to be in a town in Georgia called Oscarville. Now, that town, which was largely populated by black people, no longer exists, okay? And numerous violent incidents occurred here, and many people died here and were unalived here. I'll say that. When construction for the Beaufort Dam that was approved in 1947, it resulted in the creation of the now called Lake Lanier. And the water flooded what was left of Oscarville several years later, including the houses, storefronts, cemeteries, none of which were demolished, relocated. Literally, the water flooded the entire area and literally took it over. The history of how Lake Lanier was constructed is very troubling and disturbing enough, to say the least. Okay. But with every recent news story that has come out about Lake Lanier as a part of the headline, a lot of people take those stories as reminders of why Lake Lanier is to be avoided at all costs. This lake is responsible for so many deaths. It's actually insane. Now, to give a few examples here, on Christmas Day in 1964, a car was driving over a bridge in Forsyth County, only to end up losing control, going off a bridge, crashing into the lake, and that resulted in the death of 5 adults and 2 kids that were in the car. In 2012, an 11-year-old by the name of Kyle Glover, who was the son of Tamika Foster, who, if you guys follow R&B or if you guys follow, pop culture, then you obviously know that Tamika Foster was married to the singer Usher, who just performed in this past Super Bowl. She was married to him from 2007 to 2009, and her son was killed at Lake Lanier when his inner tube that was being pulled by a boat was struck by a speeding jet ski. In 2023, 27-year-old Leonardo Martinez, he was found and recovered in that lake after he disappeared while he was swimming near Van Pugh Park just a few days earlier. A week before that, the body of 61-year-old Tracy Stewart was found in that lake after he had drowned while he was swimming in that lake from his boat. That same year, Thomas Minor, who was 24 years old, was killed when he jumped off a dock into the lake and was somehow electrocuted once he got in the water. And that's just the tip of the iceberg, ladies and gentlemen, when it comes to stories about people who died and perished in the waters of Lake Lanier. I mean, even in the show Atlanta with Donald Glover, some of you may have seen that show, a lot of you have. It's a pretty recognized show. They even touched on how scary and terrifying Lake Lanier is for Black people, okay, and how it is very likely haunted, very much so haunted by the ghosts of people who have died there. So now that we have that out of the way, it is without a doubt, once again, one of the dumbest things you can do is build a water slide where you would ultimately send hundreds, if not thousands of people plunging to their deaths by building it over this lake. Any other lake in Georgia would have worked except this. I also don't believe for a second that this company wasn't privy to this information before they approved this. Like, they had to know the amount of deaths involved at this place. Like, there's just way too much evidence throughout the years that says that this is a bad idea. Like, this is terrible. You are literally going to be sliding right into the afterlife. Like, you're going to be sending people to that upper room by like prime day. Like, I mean, you're going to be sending people there by the express route. If you build this water slide, you will absolutely be giving the ghosts who haunt this lake a good old fashioned old country buffet. All right. Like, I'm talking ribs, thighs, breasts, hands, feet, shoulders, ankles, knees, toes, everything will be up for grabs here. This whole park is going, will be going under. All right. This is going to be something out of Final Destination or some shit. So to wrap this up, didn't really want to make this video super long, but I just had to speak on this because, you know, I did do a video about Lake Lanier a while ago, but, you know, I didn't think that for all of the negative things, for all of the deaths and just unfortunate things that have gone on at this lake, never in my mind did I think something like this would happen, where they would build an amusement park attraction over something like this. Like, it's crazy. But listen, to wrap this up, if you want to spend your money and possibly your final moments of your life at this amusement attraction, at this water slide coaster or whatever, when it opens at this lake this summer, you obviously have every right to, right? Like, who the fuck am I to tell you no? But just don't expect to see me or too many other Black people joining you, as most of them are going to be anywhere else but here. Okay. Me personally, I would sleep in the haunted mansion butt ass naked in the dark with every door open before I step foot in that lake. Water slide or not, this seems like a really shitty idea, and unfortunately I already see how this is going to go. I'm calling it now. They are going to open this up and close it within about, give or take, 2 years. I'll give this place 2 years, and that's pretty much going to be it. If it lasts any more than 2 years, I will be thoroughly impressed. But I know how this is going to go. There's been too many deaths, too many drownings, too many things that have happened over the course of years, and a lot of this is recent. This, you know, of course there's stuff that happened way back in the day, but there's stuff that literally happened like a few months ago, like, and it's stuff that still continues to happen to this day, you know. So I just don't know what, you know, this company was thinking, you know, when they approved this. I really, really, really don't know. But it'll be interesting to see what happens. I honestly don't want to know, but you know, who fucking knows? But anyway, that's pretty much all I got to say on this. I just thought it was a crazy story. But yeah, that's all I got to say, y'all. Peace.